Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Acre Homestead. My name is Becky, and we have a busy day out in the garden. We're starting in here today because we got to go through our seeds and find out which ones we're going to plant today. The ones that I absolutely know for sure that we're planting are going to be the corn, and we're going to do a sweet corn. I think it's right here. It's hybrid bicolor SH2 corn. It's from Johnny's Seed. I'm planting this because it's a quick to maturity, and I wanted to do a hybrid this year because I wanted to hopefully get something to grow quickly for me. We have to prep the garden beds before we're ready to plant them. So while we're prepping the garden beds this morning, we are gonna go ahead and we're gonna start soaking this corn in some water. I have 450 seeds here, according to the package. The area we're going to be planting this corn in has completely been taken over by weeds, so we have to prep it. I'm actually going to go run to Home Depot and rent just the smallest tiller they have because it's not a very big area. I need to buy a rake because our rake is broken, and we might buy a couple plant starts too because some of the things, I never started cucumbers, and I think it's a little too late to plant cucumbers, and I'm just going to see what else we find. But I want to get more seeds in the ground, so let me show you what the other seeds that I found that we're going to plant today. So this basket is kind of a mess. This is what I bring into the garden, and a lot of it I had not cleaned up when I come back inside. But this is dill seed that we saved from 2020, and I need to get this planted because I don't have any dill planted in the garden. I want to get these pole beans planted because I have nothing on that trellis that's out there. And then if I can find in here, we're also going to plant a bunch of green beans. I have like 4 different varieties of green beans we're going to get in the ground. Those are bush beans, more dill, probably some more radishes and beets and spinach and lettuce today. And let's see, yeah, beets. I need to get some round beets planted because I only have the cylindra beets planted. We're for sure going to plant some more of these carrots. These are the Speedo 100-day carrots. Let's see. Spinach. All these seeds are really unorganized, so I think I'm going to take a minute while I eat my breakfast. I'm going to go through and try to organize, but I think I want to try to get some of these peas planted because a lot of my peas got destroyed by the rabbits that are out there. So we're going to make a pile of things that we're going to plant. Oh, I also want to plant some of these red noodle beans. I've never grown these before, but they sure look cool. We're starting fresh with a clean basket, and I'm going to start loading in the seeds that we are going to probably plant today. I'm going to put way more seeds in here than we are going to plant, but that just gives me freedom then when I'm out there to figure out exactly what I want to plant where. Much, much better. One trick by putting those seeds in the water, it means, is it good, apple? Josh just snuck an apple. One of the tricks is by putting those corn seeds in the water, that's going to force me to have to plant those today because if I don't, they're going to go bad. The reason I put them in water is just kind of like a pre-sprout process, and that is the #1 goal. So right now I'm going to finish eating my breakfast and we're going to run to Home Depot and get the tiller. So I'm tempted by all these plants, but plant starts have gotten quite pricey. They're $4.78 for a plant start. So I think I'm going to focus on just what I came here for, which is cucumbers. And I think I did these Japanese cucumbers last time and they were pretty good. I couldn't do it. They $5 for a plant start is just too much. For this little one, it's $30 for 4 hours. And for the big one, it's $37 for 4 hours. I think I'm going to go ahead and just go with a little bit bigger one because it's only $7 more and we'll get the job done faster. I decided to wait on the cucumbers and I rented this tiller for 4 hours. So we're gonna see as much as we can get done in 4 hours. If it goes a little bit longer, then I just rent it for a little bit longer, but Wow, it's rained last night and things have exploded. So let me show you where we're gonna be working today. The goal is to get this whole area tilled up and ready for corn. We need to pull a bunch of these weeds. I don't know how much corn seed I have, but I think I'm gonna try tilling up in there as well. We probably won't get to removing this run here, but I wanna get this all tilled and maybe mulched, and maybe we'll try to mulch this whole area here too. I'm not exactly sure, but for sure, we're gonna get our corn planted and taking care of all this stuff. First thing we gotta do is remove all this stuff and move it somewhere else. I wanna give all of this green stuff to the chickens. I probably should have come out here and weeded this stuff before I rented the tiller, but I didn't really think about that until after I was already in progress. Hey girls, do you want something yummy to eat? They will eat all of that by the end of the day for sure. It is incredible how this last 2 days of rain, things have just exploded out here. Let me show you this bed. Maybe we'll get to taking care of this bed today after we're done tilling and planting. I had this bed all weeded, and this is where I planted my winter squash, and I only have one that's come up so far. So that's concerning me that maybe my seed wasn't very good. I need to look on the seed packets to see how long it says for those to germinate. But there are weeds everywhere because of this rain, but that's okay. That means the plants are growing really well too. I just walked by and I think my potatoes have doubled in size in 2 days. That is incredible. So we're gonna hill these up today as well. So I thought before I start tilling, I should till in some of this fish fertilizer that I have so that it's worked into the soil, because corn is a super heavy feeder. So we're gonna get this sprinkled throughout everything. This was an incredible workout. There was one tiller that was one size bigger, and I would say regardless of if you think it's a small spot or not, rent the largest tiller you can, because my goodness, this is hard work. My goal for this garden would for it to be a no-till garden, but I did not mulch it heavily last year and the weeds just took over. So I thought I would go ahead and till this up, and the goal would be to continue to try to build a back to Eden style garden, but I needed the tiller for a little bit of help to kind of prep us and get us ready for planting the corn today. Wow, that was a tremendous workout. I just went inside because we had a delivery that I had to sign for. We got a new pressure washer. So next week it's supposed to be in the 70s and sunny, so we're gonna be pressure washing. And then I ate some lunch. It's only 11:30, but that apple didn't stick with me because this was a lot of work. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna be sore tomorrow. My goal, I was thinking, I think I'm gonna get up, work out, and then work in the garden, but I'm really glad I didn't do that because I would be shot if I then had to do this. And we still have a lot of planting to do. So I'm gonna clean out the base of this rototiller because there's a bunch of grass and dirt in it and I wanna return it clean. It hasn't been 4 hours yet, so we're gonna go return that. I think I might go treat myself to an iced tea, and then we'll be back to get this whole area planted. And I've been thinking as I've been working where I want to plant what, which is pretty exciting. That's half the battle sometimes, is knowing what's going where. So I would say that is some pretty epic progress that we made today, and we're not even done yet. We're gonna head and return, oh you can't see it, but we're gonna go return the tiller, and then I think we're gonna go to Wilco, which is our farm store, kind of like Tractor Supply, because their plant starts are $1.70, I think, per start, as opposed to $4.75 or whatever they were at Home Depot, which is just crazy expensive. And I think I'm going to be planting some pumpkins and stuff in the chicken coop area. I don't know if I'm going to be able to have Josh be able to help me because we have a very busy weekend with some family things this weekend. So I don't think he's going to be able to help me remove that thing. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and plant in it. I think that's the goal. So let's go to Wilco and see what kind of plant starts we can find. So the starts at Wilco were $1.99 and they were 20% off for these 4-inch pots, which is a fantastic deal. They didn't have a huge selection, but they had enough. When I look at my plant starts, I try to look and see if I can find plants that have more than one plant in each pot. So this is some butternut squash, and there were 4 plants in one cell. So I'm getting each one of those plants for 50 cents if they all survive. And this burpless cucumber, this is the one that I was thinking earlier when we were at Home Depot that I really liked it. Josh and I are not huge cucumber eaters, and so just a few plants is more than enough. I don't pickle cucumbers. I love pickles, but I have not done that yet. So if you guys have any good pickle recipes, I would greatly recommend. Oh, I guess that wasn't a butternut squash. That was a different type of cucumber, but I would greatly appreciate your pickle recipes. And here are some melons. I have never grown cantaloupe. I started a few that I started from seed that are out there, but I thought I would go ahead and just try a regular cantaloupe as well. And so we're going to give that a try this year. So this here is where the butternut squash is, and I didn't start any butternut squash when we started our seeds or planted out our seeds of our winter squash, so I thought I'd grab a couple of those. And I did grab some blue Hubbard squash because that was one of my favorite winter squashes, and I couldn't find my seed when I planted out our winter squash, so I thought I'd go ahead and pick up a couple of those. I ended up getting 2 of those, and I think we're going to plant those somewhere where I just tilled up. I'm not sure where. We'll figure it out. And at Wilco, how do I go to Wilco and not look at the chickens and be tempted by all the little chicks? I haven't bought new chicks in 2 years. My girls are 2.5 years old, actually. And at some point, I would love to increase my flock, but we really don't need any more chickens right now, but it's fun to look. Every time I come to Wilco, I look at their boot section, and they've been really low on my size. And they have these boots. They're only 40 bucks, and they have my size. They're kind of cute. They have little flowers on them. And I don't have boots right now. The boots that I was wearing the last 2 years have holes in them. So you might have noticed I've been wearing my tennis shoes, which is not practical, especially for today. So I think I'm gonna walk out with these cute little boots on. And then I'll throw these in the wash, and I won't have to wear those in the garden anymore. We are back at it, and I am digging trenches. What I'm doing is digging these trenches about 1.5 inches deep. I thought this would be a way easier method to plant our corn in a trench as opposed to trying to dig each individual hole for each individual seed, because we are trying to plant over 400 seeds today. We have 10 rows right here, and I'm going to start planting the corn in this section right here. I decided I'm going to not plant the corn in this area because of the way the sun goes, and if I plant this corn that's going to get 5 or 6 feet tall, it's going to start shading out my tomatoes. So this flatter area here, we're going to plant winter squash, some of the winter squash that I just bought. So let's get the corn planted so that I can say we checked off what we were aiming to do today, and then I can go do some more fun things. This feels like what has to be done, and so I want to get this done so I can do some of the things that I'm a little more excited about. Not that I'm not excited to plant the corn, this just feels like what has to be done versus playing around in the garden and seeing what else we get done. These corns have kind of absorbed quite a bit of that water, so they're a little bit puffier. So let's get to planting. I'm going to plant these about 4 inches apart, and I'm just going to drop them in here, and then we'll push the soil back on top of them. So I had to make 5 more rows, and I have 3 left here, and let's see if I have enough now. I ended up doing about 25-ish rows. I'm not exactly sure how many I did because I didn't count, But the reason I'm planting this corn, what might seem really close together, is I had poor pollination last year. The pollen from the tassels has to touch each individual corn kernel in order for it to create a corn kernel. And by placing them closer together, I'm hopefully gonna have better germination and corn production. I got everyone planted. The last maybe like 20 seeds I just went ahead and threw in there because I didn't feel like digging another trench, and some of them aren't gonna come up, some are gonna get eaten by birds, so hopefully it'll be the right amount of seeds in the end. We got it done. Now we're gonna go ahead and get our sweet meat plants planted and our butternut squash planted. That's what we have here. And I have to figure out where I want to put these. So I bought 2 containers of the sweet meat. And these probably were one of my favorite squashes that I grew last year. And I didn't plant any. So what I'm going to do, squash really does not like its roots messed with very much. And I'm glad these are a little bit dry. And I'm going to try to gently pull them apart as best as possible, and then we'll plant these 2 plants. So they were $1 each plus 20% off. So pretty happy with that. The butternut squash, it looks like we got 4 plants, and in this sweet meat we got 3. I don't know if all 3 will survive, but I'm going to try to do the same thing, really gentle. Ooh. My ultimate goal in my in-ground gardening is to have it be a no-till garden, even though I did just till it, which is counterproductive or counterintuitive to what you would think. But I let the weeds get a little too out of control. I didn't quite mulch it enough last year. And it's pretty cool because right here where I'm working, the chickens were here, and you can see how light and fluffy that soil was. I could dig those holes easily with my hands. Versus this area here, the chickens never were on this area, and the soil is a lot denser even after tilling. My goal is to mulch this area really heavily and try to not have to till next year, but it's a learning thing and I needed a little help from the tiller. I found 2 more bags of seed potatoes in my shop, and let's get these planted in that run area. We have the squash done, the corn done, and now I want to get this area planted. I'm not going to do anything special. Let me show you how I'm going to do this. So easy. All I'm doing is throwing these potatoes on the ground. I'm not digging them. I'm not doing anything special. This style of gardening is called Ruth Stout gardening. She is a lady that does have a documentary on YouTube about her, and it's a no fuss, no muss style of gardening, which I'm all about. So you saw how precise I planted those potatoes. I did decide to go ahead and leave a little walkway here so I can continue to mulch it over the season. And now let's get this mulched up. With how life is right now, I know Josh is not going to be able to get out here and help me with this removing of the chicken run. So I figured what I would plant in this area would be something like potatoes where I don't have to manage it or harvest from it on a regular basis. It's only a one-time harvest because you can see it's a little bit difficult to get in here. I thought I wouldn't want to plant potatoes or peppers or anything that I would need to get in there on a regular basis. So potatoes was the perfect crop to go ahead and plant in here because I'll only have to get in here one time. It started pouring on us, but we got it done. So we officially got all those potatoes planted, and I covered everything in straw. I did leave a little walkway so that I know where the potatoes are planted and where they're not. I did not cover that in straw so that weeds might grow there, but we'll deal with it when it comes. We got all the corn planted, winter squash planted, and I did go ahead and plant the cantaloupe that I bought. I planted them here so they can vine out this way. And then over here, we went ahead and we planted the cucumbers here, and then once we build this trellis, then we'll have the cucumbers trellising up and over. The next thing I really want to do is I really want to weed this, and I did find right there and right there, that big green spot, 2 winter squashes that finally came up in this bed, which is encouraging. Oh, another one, 2 more. Winter squash sprouted over here since we were out today because those weren't up earlier today. So that's encouraging. I wish there were a few more in this bed here, the one that I'm about to weed, but it is what it is, and we'll just have to keep a close eye on it. And if they don't come up soon, the rest of them, then I might plant the seed again. I don't know. The problem is I planted really unique varieties that I did not see at either Home Depot today or Wilco. And that's kind of the thing, when you do plant from seed, you have such a bigger selection of what you want to plant. I planted very specific varieties. So we'll see how it goes. And I did want to show you one more thing I found. This is the first nasturtium flower, and I don't remember which one this is, but it's a beautiful pink color, and I love, 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 love it, along with our little zinnia right here. This is one of the queen lime zinnias. I'm not sure which variety exactly it is, but really, really beautiful. If that's not satisfying, I don't know what is. And it looks so much better. I also went ahead and weeded this bed. And it is raining out here again. But that's not going to stop us from the few things we have to do to finish today. Let me show you over here. In the last 3 days, these potatoes have doubled in size. And you can see I planted them pretty low in the bag. I can link these grow bags. These are really awesome. These potatoes are doing the best out of any of my potatoes. We're going to go ahead and backfill these potatoes. So these potatoes will grow potatoes along the whole stem. So that's why we have to bury them. And they'll keep growing. And we'll do this probably 1 or 2 more times throughout the growing season. It's gonna rain quite heavily today and tomorrow, which will get the rest of that dirt off that potato plant. The last bed that needs to be addressed is this onion bed. There are so many weeds. So that's what I'm going to do now, is take care of this. It looks so much better. Not perfect, but way, way, way better. And I'm thrilled with the results. If you're wondering why there's these still in here, this is chamomile. I pulled about half of it out. But this is chamomile that you would use for tea, and it self-seeded itself, so I'm just going to let half of it grow. But I wanted to give a little bit of breathing room for these onions. I think I'm always a little too ambitious when I come out here to do these days. It's about 3 o'clock right now, so we've been at it since 8 a.m. and it is time to go inside and relax. I need to clean up. I'm a disaster after being rained on in the mud from tilling. My muscles are going to be sore, but it's a good kind of sore. And tonight we have a big family dinner because my grandma, or Josh's grandma, is turning 90. So a bunch of families in town to celebrate her tomorrow. So we're gonna go get dinner tonight so I don't have to cook. So I have got a few hours where I can go inside, clean up, relax, breathe, and enjoy the sore muscles because it meant we got a lot of stuff done today. Thank you for hanging out with me in my garden. If you want to watch more garden videos, I'll pop some here, or some cooking videos. I do a lot of garden to table stuff, so I'll pop those there. You can go enjoy those. Friends, always, thank you for hanging out with me today. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friends.